Don't be silly. The best time to leave a party is after something terrible has happened, but before the police arrive. Hedda is an Amazon original written and directed by Nia DaCosta, who did The Marvels and the 2021 Candyman sequel. Remember that sequel? I wish I didn't, because it was terrible. No matter what director, writer, what stars were in it, it was terrible. But this is an adaptation of the play by Henrik Ibsen, and is a reimagining, so to speak, because if you read up on that play, 1891 is not the setting, because there's automobiles, there's a nice, 30s, 40s aesthetic to this, and also more gunplay, and Tessa Thompson, doing as only Tessa Thompson can do, command the screen as Hedda Gabler. I kept wanting to call her Gabbo, Gabbo, Gabbo. It's about some guy named Gabbo. She has a house along with her husband George, played by Tom Don't Call Me Master Bateman, who, well, he's trying to succeed in life. They have money, but they spend a lot of it trying to fix up this house that her father had, but it's a very, very big British mansion. This will probably play a lot better if you know more about the play, that being said, and also I think seeing this in a play format probably suits the material better. But there are a couple, and they're going to throw one last hurrah of a party before, well, the bank likely at least claims half the house for tours, and maybe they can live in some of the house or move somewhere else. Basically, they are financially fucked. But that doesn't mean they can't throw a goddamn party. A party that ends in debauchery and even a little bit of murder. Yes. Okay, so were there spoilers in that? Possibly, yeah. That being said, Tessa Thompson, very likable, very delightfully beautiful actress. She's in this as well as Nina Haas, who is in Tar. She plays Eileen Loborg. And boy, I just want to say at one point, was it cold enough for her there? Jesus Christ, those things could have cut glass. Also, she has somebody that is an associate with her while Eileen's trying to write a book. Imogen Poots. Stop laughing. This is serious. She plays Thea. And also you have Nicholas Pinnock as Judge Brack. Brack, the Brack Show. Mother. Anyway, so we also have Saffron Hawking, who is gorgeous, good grief. And Catherine Hunter, not annoying people like in the front room, and also in Vicious. Catherine Hunter's a really good actress, and I don't understand how she keeps getting cast as the lowly midget in so many bad horror movies. So, yes, a suspense drama with some dark comedy and a helping of lesbianism, hidden lesbianism because of the time period and everything. And somebody described this on Letterboxd as exactly what would happen if a messy lesbian threw a party. And you know what? I have to agree to an extent, having known some messy lesbian friends in my life. This was fun. There were actually some really good moments in this. It wasn't perfect. There are a lot of bits of familiarity, and there are moments where it's like, okay, this is kind of dragging, but as far as how well shot it is, how good the cast performs, there's enough to like about this. That much I'll say. I am going to get into some spoilers in this and just some observations, but yeah, Tessa Thompson commands the screen, and it does have a nice setting to it. I really did enjoy how the cast interacted with each other. Really, it is a simplistic story. There isn't a lot of complexity to this except for women having to suppress their urges and who they truly are and how they were born because of the time period and everything. Even if some try to be out in the open, men are still going to hold them down because women have to be the prim and proper type and go to societal norms. So it is on Amazon if you want to check it out. So 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. There we are. So there is one line that starts, the only way to trust, the only thing you can trust in a woman is that she will not come back after she dies. Boy, that's come back to life again after she dies. Well, that's certainly dark. Not like that episode of Tales from the Crypt with the Love Potion. Do you remember that? I love you guys. So we start with Hedda talking to the police and then says, where should I start? So then we go back to the beginning, essentially, and we see she tried to basically take her own life by putting rocks in her dress pocket and submerging herself in a lake. That doesn't necessarily work. She gets called to the goddamn party where there's a big band and there's some really good music. The jazz singer, I like the woman that was a jazz singer, I'll say that much. And Hedda walks around. She basically takes Hedda walks around, takes flowers away, shoots a gun off at a judge, which was kind of funny. And the gun does come back into play a little bit later. And her husband, by the way, the actor, Tom, don't call me Master Bateman, was in Murder on the Orient Express. The remake, not the original. He's not that old. So, 1940s something or other, based on the cars and everything. Really like how the camera sweeps through the party and everything. Thought there were some good, well-composed shots. And Thea arrives, basically because she is the understudy of Eileen. They have written a book together, because they are together. And Eileen also has been clean and sober for a bit, because she loves to drink. Kind of like the Ethan Hawke character in Blue Moon, where he loved to drink, but if he wasn't drinking, then more people wanted to interact with him because he couldn't control his liquor. You know how you control your liquor? You hold him by the ears. Eileen, very much out in the open gay, but obviously there are some people that are against that. There's also a guy named Mr. Greenwood. Reginald, I believe, is his first name because he's British, so naturally Reginald is about the only name a white guy of that age could have. And he could look over the book. Also, during this, Hedda is basically trying to be a messy little bitch, as it were. And because she used to be with Eileen, that didn't work out necessarily. And she married a guy basically to get money and that kind of stuff because she has a key to her dad's gun collection that he left her, but she could sell off some of these guns and possibly get some money for them. And the judge also is very handsy, a little bit too handsy, because he's helped out quite a bit, gained him a good deal on the house and doing certain things. But yeah, he kind of wants his just desserts by taking her as a dessert, shall we say. Her being Hedda. And she's going to lose everything unless basically she finds a way to pay for all this stuff. The jazz singer, my word, whoever that jazz singer is. Catherine Hunter in this. Hilarious to me. But Saffron Hawking, my word, what a beauty she is. She plays the character of Jane. You ignorant, I can't say that word, but it's the SNL skit. And Eileen and Hedda end up talking, and she basically says, I'm happier with you and everything. I figured out I didn't love you, all this kind of stuff, and you didn't shoot me a while ago because you're a coward at heart. Oh, no, that's going to come back to play a little bit later on. We do get chapter breaks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this movie's about an hour and 40 minutes, something like that, so it's expedient enough. And George basically is worried he's going to lose Hedda because while I think it's more of a marriage of convenience, I also think there is a bit of camaraderie there. Or maybe I'm just seeing things and, Hedda really just is this, messy bitch that is manipulative that will get anything she wants. But she kind of drives a wedge between Thea and Eileen at one point by offering Eileen a drink. Eileen gets drunk and turns into her old self, the one that Thea didn't like, even though Thea did love her before. She was happy to see her sober. Eileen then is regaling a bunch of men with her stories and exploits and everything, and I noticed, like, Jesus Christ, Nina, is it cold enough in there for you? Seriously, those could have, look at that. Those could have cut glass. They're the size of dinner plates, and I mean that with the utmost respect. There's a guy named Tabitha that gets banged, and Reginald is very upset by this. To be fair, Reginald is at least 30 years her senior. Everyone's banged a Tabitha once in their life. God forbid if, a certain individual happens to watch this. And yeah, there's not really any direction to go except into the seediness of this whole deal. Thea and Eileen happen to get a bit of a separation going. Catherine Hunter kind of explains about the house and the issues going on with it. And Reginald has a gun. He ends up shooting and breaking the chandelier at one point because he gets, the shot gets put up into the ceiling. And now, so there's his gun in play. There's Hedda's gun in play. Thea basically made Eileen better, but Eileen also has kind of pushed herself away from that. And also her manuscript that she showed off to Greenwood ends up going missing. There's some in the water, or some in the lake, some in the bushes, but most of the rest of it is exposing a bunch of people, I believe including Hedda. Like, it's never actually fully said. But if, basically, if, this book gets published, then for some reason George won't get, a good job and get his riches, and that will be stuff that Eileen will get. And Eileen basically says all people have a thing they like, regales more the guys with more stories. George is desperate for money. Eileen is super toasted at this point. We get her and Thea breaking up. And her book is missing. She snapped. She ends up at one point like punching a guy. I would have been gladly been punched or smothered by her. I don't have issues. Shut up. And yeah, things aren't going other well. It turns out Hedda actually took pretty much most of the manuscript. That being said, Thea's upset. She knows that Hedda basically had something to do with this, and Eileen basically is feeling the pinch, feeling disgraced because of her lifestyle. Well, not even her lifestyle choice, just how she is. And Hedda hands her a gun, and she's going to take her own life, but then she doesn't. And then, George and Hedda are talking while the judge hears them. Basically, she's getting a little bit of the service, what the judge wants as a service. She burns the manuscript and everything. It's a way for them to be successful. A lot of this narrative is a little bit messy, and probably better that you see it with you see it in the play form, because some stuff's cut out, some stuff's implied. And then Eileen basically ends up getting shot. And the issue is she going to live? Is she going to die? What the hell's going on? George and Thea, by the way, suddenly are this goes right back to the police interrogation. George and Thea are trying to recreate the book and stuff like that as a way to honor Eileen, also to get the money. George says, look, we can move to a smaller house, Hedda. It's not a big deal. But she is a greedy, messy bitch and everything. I mean, and I'm not saying she's without, positives, but she is clearly messy. And then the judge basically comes for his just desserts, shall we say, and saying before, when he tried to get with her near a bookcase, don't resist me. Well, now he's more forceful. No means no, pal. And then she shoots at him. She runs out into a field. It looks like he's going to kill her, but then he's chased off by voices. Voices from people that see something's going on, but nothing can be proven. And then she tries to go into the lake with rocks again and is told that Eileen has woken up, and then she stares, and then we cut basically from there to the end. So that's it. That is Hedda right there. Did I explain that movie well? Probably not, but I did my best. It was fun enough. It gets a B. It's not perfect, but it's well made. And I'll say that much. It's not absolutely one of the top best, but it's definitely not one of the worst. I've seen some reviews kind of slamming this, but that being said, B for me. Agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Rentlin, and until we take a manuscript that doesn't belong to us and burn it in the fireplace again, happy trails to you.